What better way to test a race enduro bike than to find the steepest trails in your area? So we grabbed the 2023 Yeti SB160, headed out here to Corona, California, and we're gonna put it to the full test. What's up everyone? Mark here from Jenson USA. Got Kyle again with me. And we're doing what we've been doing, which is a pretty staple here for 2023, is going over the heat that Yeti's been bringing. And so we brought the Yeti SB160 here. Kyle, why don't you tell us a little bit about this bike?
Yeah, so we've done a little review of that before our first look. So this is a bike that we've actually been putting some miles on. So I've had a couple hundred miles on this bike now. And this is the 160, so this took the place of the 150. So pretty cool new rendition from Yeti. Again, it's those fine tunements that are really coming in staple of that, of what Yeti has done for 23 here. So again, this is their enduro race bike. And we're out here just gonna put it through its pace a little bit, and I'll give you a little bit of my insight on it. Luckily, I get the ability to ride a lot of bikes, and this is actually one of the builds that I've spec'd out and been riding quite a bit. Love the bike. So we've had a 150 before, and I've actually had a lunch ride as well, so a lot to compare the Yetis to. The Yeti Switch Infinity Link is just, it's just something magical. It's actually pretty cool. This is a big bike, you know, it's a 170, 160 travel. Obviously the SB160 sort of designates that travel wise. But what's really cool about the Yetis is this bike is really, I would call it like a race bred bike, you know, so this is going to be that guy that is looking for every second out there. You know, so Yeti this year too, with the new frames and stuff, has made this bike a lot more, I guess I'd call it comfortable as well. It's not as much rear facing oriented. You actually sit a little bit more centered in this bike. The frame itself has got I would call it a little bit more rigid than what it has been in the past. Numbers aren't crazy, so they didn't go super slack or super crazy with anything. I think it's really, it's just fine dialing that in to make this a pure, like, fun race bike. It is super fast. It's probably one of the fastest bikes I've ever ridden. It's way faster than I can ride. So I like to think about it. I love to think that I'm Richie Rude out there or something like that, looking down, but there's always something like that. But what I say, big characteristic difference from like the 160 to 150, puts you in a much more comfortable position for your climbs and stuff like that, and definitely let you get out there and rip.
So I mean, like, so you've kind of briefly talked about some of the characteristics, but maybe go a little more in depth and tell us, you know, a little bit like, how does that actually handle, say, like, we're about to be out here in Corona to ride some trails, you know, how does it handle in the turns, you know, how is it handling through a little bit of like steep technical, you know, maybe talk a little bit about that. I mean, I'm sure Preston's going to cut in, you know, some really cool riding footage that we get, but maybe you can tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so I think the Yeti, the linkage on this is pretty unique. It allows the bike to stay pretty high in its travel, so it still climbs and pedals pretty well for a big bike. Probably one of the best pedaling bikes for like a 160 travel. And like I said, it's not super slack like some of the other ones out there. It's a moderate slack on there. Very aggressive. But what this does do is keep you high in that travel, so it still, even for a bigger bike, has a little bit of spring or wants to push you to go. Yeti also has what's called a pretty low stack height on these, so the front end does make you sit a little bit lower. So regardless if you like it or not, it throws your elbows out there and you're in race mode. And that's what's really cool about that, you know, trademark wise or so. Yeti's really known for that race bred, and they want you to get out there and feel like you're racing that bike. Characteristics, small bump compliancy on this is great. Like the little chatter stuff really puts through. Now against some like big travel, softer travel bikes or so, it's not gonna be as plush. So I would say something like a Mega Tower is a little more plush. It's a little more forgiving, or in any of the transitions, you'll get into a little bit more plush feeling. Now, with that being said though, this is going to give you a much more race feel. It's going to feel faster through that, rolls extremely well, doesn't catch up on like straight edges on it. So again, it's more looking for every second, more so than just, you know, the biggest, funnest, plowy bike. It's not the most poppy. It definitely stays planted, but with that said, with your steeper trails that you get through that chatter and stuff, it's something pretty cool. It actually feels like it wants to push you and irk you to go faster. I like that. I like that. I mean, like you said, though, I don't know if we'll keep up with the bike, but it's fun to pretend that we're keeping up with the bike, right? So you kind of mentioned like what this compares to, say, like a Mega Tower being a little more plush. What other bikes would you say that you would compare this to, and how does it, you know, better from that, or where does it, you know, fit in? I'd probably say like two folds. There's probably two bikes that I would put it in the same-ish category. One would be the Rocky Mountain that you'd have in there. Wise, this is probably a little bit longer. Angles are about the same. pedal, I think the Yeti pedals a lot better and urges you to go a little bit faster. The Rocky Mountain's probably a little plusher, but that thing corners amazing.
Yeah.
So it just depends on what you're looking for on that bike, as well as the Rocky Mountain is mullet capable as well, while this is a full 29 front and rear, and there's no adjustability on that.
Yep.
The other bike I'd probably put closest in category that I've put in a lot of miles on is the Orbea Rayon. And where I really like the Rayon, it pedals extremely well. For an enduro bike, it is again, it's more of like that race feeling bred bike. Definitely fast. I would say the Rayon though is even more rigid and less plush than what you would get out of the Yeti. So twofolds, I think depending on what you're looking for, so this would put you right in that middle ground of between those two bikes. If you're looking for something a little bit more plush, playful, I really do think that the Rocky Mountain would be that way. And then on the opposite side, the Orbea Rayon, another fast, fun bike. But if you're on the scope of being like maybe, you know, the term's not used as much, but like all mountain rider, or a bike that you're gonna go still put big miles on, but still can go race on the weekend, that's a great bike as well.
Awesome. All right, so we've gone over the characteristics, we've gone over how it feels. Who do you see this bike being for? I know we've talked a lot about it being a race bike, but do you see it solely fitting in the category of a race bike, or do you see it kind of expanding out of there?
No, I wouldn't just categorize it as just purely a race bike. I would say it just matters how you get your thrills, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a huge jumper, but I come from a background that I'm a racer in heart. If you get your thrills of just going fast, this is the guy. But it definitely pedals well enough that you still can put some big miles out and do some big days in the saddle. It's one of the bigger bikes that I would still ride all day and put some miles down. But like I said, it's not going to be the most poppy, playful, but if you do get your kicks out of just eye-watering fast, this is your bike. Okay, I like that. Yeah, I just, you know, it's a thing with bikes is sometimes we feel like they're so stuck in a category until you get out and ride it, and you're like, well, this definitely is the race bike, but it's also the bike that, like, I could go out if I just wanted to go as fast as I can down a trail and get all that, you know, out of it. So most definitely, it's definitely going to urge you to go fast and try to get every inch that you can out of it, while still staying comfortable and making sure that you're in good hands with it, you know, and make sure that you're not riding over your head, because this bike will outride most people out there. Well, I mean, let's get out and ride it. I'm excited to see how it performs out there. And have some fun on some of these steep trails. You know, we're finally getting some clear out here in California, so let's get out to riding. And as you've seen with the latest videos, we've been just crushing it on Yeti's 2023 lineup. They've been bringing it on all different angles. So if you have any questions about any of the Yetis, or even if you're looking to build up your dream bike from the frame up like Kyle did here with this SB160, reach out to our Gear Advisor pros. They can walk you through every single part and make sure that when you sit on your bike, you're riding the bike exactly how you wanted. It's the dream bike. It's giving you all your thrills. It's giving you your feels and everything else. So let's get out there and keep pedaling.